Did you really believe Harlem's messiest Bonnie and Clyde would get away with inventing a full baby simply to keep their pockets big and their names trending? Oh, sit down and silence all notifications because what I'm about to unravel is so dirty, embarrassing, and disgustingly on brand for these two, that even imagine waking up to leaked footage of Chrissy Lampkin, the self-proclaimed ride-or-die queen. Even the pettiest sections of Twitter are unable to spin this controversy, saying "sweet baby" lies into a burner phone, while Camron, Mr. Pink Mink himself, stands 3 feet back, orchestrating this wicked soap drama. Harlem's dollar shop puppet master, fake tears check fake doctor's papers, double check secret cash, drops behind cheap hotel doors, baby checkmate. Question yourself, how deep does this rabbit hole truly go? How many sponsorships, reunion deals, and false charity checks did these two cash in while the world celebrated for them? Pregnancy that never was, and the worst part, the receipts are leaking out one by one. And believe me, by the time we're done today, you'll never look at Brace Up. This expose could smash the internet twice before lunch, so let's peel back the filthy layers of the circus. Trust me, the so-called power couple of Harlem didn't suddenly slip up overnight. No, this nasty masterpiece was years in the making, masked by reality show, tears, manufactured engagement rings, and Instagram remarks so false they could scam a ghost. Let's rewind the tape back to the glorious period when Chrissy Lampkin declared herself the First Lady of Harlem, while Camron strutted around like a pink Foradon Don. Jim Jones, bless his devoted stupid heart, thought he possessed Harlem's last unbroken brotherhood, but underneath all that Dipset nostalgia were snake pits, hush money, and a false baby tummy that would even Mona Scott Young wonders if this was too scandalous for cable TV. People think the rot began in 2017 when VH1's reunion specials became stale. Ratings. Chrissy Lampkin knew her cry-on-cue abilities were losing value quickly. Camron knew his solo buzz was locked in 2005 nostalgia and half-baked show posters. But what's to hustlers with dusty limelight to do easy construct a fresh mess, join the false baby scheme, insiders. By insiders, I mean Chrissy's former nail tech, who couldn't keep her mouth shut until the first pregnant whisper struck Camron ears one shady brunch at Harlem Tavern. Chrissy Lampkin leaned over her champagne and tapped Camron icy her watch and yelled, "What if the world thinks I'm pregnant again?" Camron didn't even flinch as he pulled out his second phone, not the public one, the burner, and mumbled, "If you sell it right, we all eat good." From that brunch on, baby, Chrissy Lampkin refollowed previous corporate sponsors on Instagram and made amends with reality show producers who swore they'd never work with him again after that 2011 outburst backstage. And Jim Jones, poor stupid Jim Jones, kept believing every "I love you daddy" text she sent at 2 a.m. while surreptitiously negotiating hush payments for dubious ultrasound billing. Fast forward to spring 2022. A suspicious bump started. Chrissy's photo fan pages argued she's beaming, while Harlem's barbershops muttered she Camron milked every ounce of clout he could, dropping teasers versus speculating about gifting the crew with new life dangled cryptic IG tales with baby symbols, and poured not-so-subtle shade at Jim Jones, saying a genuine man admits his faults, feeds his seeds at work, sponsorship offers crawled out from every corner, baby brands, mother podcasts, pregnancy photo shoots. One source disclosed that the vitamin business gave Chrissy Lampkin a 5-figure agreement for a pregnant health journey video on YouTube. Little did they know, the only thing growing was her pocketbook, equilibrium, not her womb. And here's where it gets nasty. These two didn't stop at simply pretending. Nay, they made sure the deception looked solid. A traveling OB/GYN from Jersey, who rumor claims had her license removed back in 2018 for fraudulent medical documents, was on Camron. Private risk phony blood work, fake sonograms, fake prenatal visit receipts were made on a throwaway laptop, stored to an encrypted USB, and given over to Chrissy Lampkin before any suspicious PR agency could inquire. Camron sat 2 streets away in a hookah club, giggling with his inner circle. Harlem is still gullible enough to purchase anything if you sprinkle some reality TV tears on it. Cruel, but not unexpected at all, may have stayed buried too if it Camron. Nervousness couldn't have fixed the maintenance lady at that iconic Midtown hotel room if it hadn't been for one mistake. A housekeeper who spotted a curiously flat pregnant belly band dumped in the garbage links to 3 unopened prenatal medication bottles she took. A photo, she DM'd it to a Harlem gossip blogger eager for hits. Boom, baby hoax outed within hours. Hashtag Chrissy Lampkin, fake bump trended. Camron phone blew up, not with congratulatory DMs, but with death threats from Dipset stans, claiming he'd slain his brother for clout money. Chrissy's lawyer ghosted her. Even Mona Scott Young, the queen of Give Me the Mess, I'll spin it, refused to answer her calls. But wait, it gets spicy since the leak was only the appetizer. Next came the main course, bank statements revealed by an unnamed whistleblower, maybe a disgruntled intern from Camron's short-lived podcast endeavor, digital files, web images indicating hush money, fraudulent pregnancy invoices, hotel room bookings under bogus LLC names like Mommy Empire Consulting LLC. Fans did what fans do best by connecting every joke, every slip-up, and roasting the entire fraud into next week's TikTok detectives match dates. Chrissy's so-called due date to her club performances, where she suddenly had abs by midnight but a bump by morning. Twitter Spaces raged all night. Did Jim Jones Camron has been a snake since Dipset's debut mixtape? So if you thought this was the end of the leak, fasten your seatbelt, because Harlem's messiest soap opera was far from ended simply when Jim Jones tried to play damage control and post a prayer hands emoji on Instagram. More screenshots surfaced this time from Chrissy's cousin's stolen iCloud private voice notes, burner phone recordings, and a suspicious contract with a dodgy public relations business, ensuring widespread rollout of pregnant news. While Camron vanished, no cryptic live, no freestyle diss tune, not even a single petty tweet. The quiet, that's how Harlem knew he was guilty as sin, or calculating the next chess move. Chrissy Lampkin, on the other hand, couldn't hide. The paparazzi spotted her sliding out of a nail shop with no bump, number ring, and no clue how to spin this PR car wreck into a new income. And here's the real slap: sponsors started racing for the once that vitamin brand refunds the pregnancy photo studio litigation threat. One brand even made a scathing tweet: "We do not condone false babies," canceled all cooperation, effective immediately. The internet crashed again. Now wait. Take a big breath, because if you believe this con stopped at revealed hotel prohibitions and dodgy bills, you're charmingly wrong. This baby bombshell wasn't just about cloud, but the ticking time bomb that blew away Harlem's final fairy tale. A few of fractured dives at loyalty provoked a federal audit, and just when you thought Harlem rumor would finally hit pause, think again. Dropped next didn't only Torchy and Camron, but brought a few old acquaintances back into the nasty limelight they said they left behind. Stick with me, part 2 is about to peel this issue down to the bone. And believe me, by the end, you'll wish this was just poor reality TV. It's so much worse if you thought the barbershop whispers and Twitter jokes were enough to bury the swindle. Oh baby, welcome to the real Harlem. The receipts leaking out now didn't simply drag Chrissy Lampkin and Camron. They pulled a switch that transformed Harlem's dusty backstage secrets into a federal sideshow. Nobody, not even Mona Scott, with her tight NDAs, could sweep beneath the reunion rug. Here's how it escalated. 2 days after the hashtag Chrissy Lampkin phony bump cracked the trending charts, a rogue whistleblower shared a single encrypted file on a sketchy bulletin board. Mommy Empire PR Plan _final contains a goldmine of emails, WhatsApp discussions, and signed presentations demonstrating how Chrissy Lampkin Camron and 2 dubious public relations managers planned up a 6-month viral motherhood narrative arc. 1 bullet point stated: Phase 1 public reveal, Phase 2 phony ultrasound leak, Phase 3 paparazzi bump sighting, Phase 4 brand deals. Obtained Phase 5 strategic miscarriage narrative for sympathy and reunion theme. They faked a pregnancy and intended to fake sadness as well, so fans would queue up with tissue boxes and hashtags imploring VH1 to release a special reunion. When Harlem heard about the bullet point burst, the internet split in part. One side demanded that Chrissy Lampkin be banned from every network that had ever given her, and the other side cried Camron was the puppet master, the evil genius, who made Harlem's queen sell out her last drop of dignity for clout. Crumbs. Meanwhile, Jim Jones, who styled himself Harlem's last faithful monarch, went nuclear. Forget the prayer hands. Forget the inspirational quotations. He pulled up his own receipts on Instagram Live. Over 200,000 viewers saw him sit in a dimly lit studio hoodie with half-off voice, shivering as he yelled over the phone. You ever love somebody so deeply that you let him ruin you twice? You're laughing at me, but I was playing father to a lie she and Camron cooked behind my back. Fans flooded the conversation. Keep strong. King, you deserve better. Camron has to pay for this betrayal, as Jim Jones spilled his anguish in real time. As the chronology broke down, TikTok editors combined snippets of him sobbing with old Dipset video, dumping millions in a continuous cycle of nostalgia and cringe. But Harlem's untidy DNA never ends with sadness. It swings to criminality when the money trail becomes heated, because beside that PR file, Whistleblower published incomplete bank ledgers that caused even tax. Agents perk up Zelle transactions hidden behind bogus catering company, PayPal invoices. Labeled as pregnant health consultancy, and stacks of $2,500 wire payments. Linked to an LLC named Harlem's Events for the FBI and IRS that was a breadcrumb trail with extra cheese by daybreak. News traveled quickly. Federal investigators requested a sit-down. And the rumor mill said Homeland Security knocked on one. Camron, former studios in Queens around 5:00 a.m., hunting for backup discs. One gossip blogger even shared a hazy photo of a black SUV drove outside Chrissy's cousin's condo, stating that the feds were interrogating her relative for hush money receipts. While the street chanted Rico and racketeering, Camron remained in ghost mode. No freestyle clapback, no shady bar on Instagram, no petty tweet with weeping laugh emojis. Just radio silence, which Camron is scarier than any diss track because everyone in Harlem knows when Camron's silent, he's cooking something poisonous. Whilst Chrissy Lampkin, once reality TV ride or die queen, was left to perish alone. The paparazzi captured her twice in 2 days. One sneaking into a lawyer's midtown office with larger sunglasses than her dignity, wailing at the wheel of a rented, black Escalade outside a pregnancy business she reportedly duped for a free baby bump. Props companies did not wait for an apology. That vitamin sponsor gone a fancy baby clothing brand she teased on Instagram ghosted her with a harsh pinned remark. "We only outfit true miracles. We hope Miss Lampkin recovery and contemplation, and the Harlemantes few don't get them started." Beauty salons illuminated up with vintage heads clucking their tongues. I warned you Chrissy Lampkin was trouble when she forced Jim Jones to have that tattoo of her lips instead of a genuine wedding. True vintage Harlem. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. Just as the PR disaster torched every area of Harlem, a new player walked out of anonymous Reddit leaks alleged that this mysterious individual, a sleazy ex-manager named Reggie, was the one who tipped the intern to release it all. Reggie, supposedly, carried grudges the size of Harlem blocks an infant when he discovered Camron was cashing hush money on a bogus baby scheme while still owing him payment. Apparently percentages, the man went full whistleblower. He sent the intern screenshots, he fed bloggers hush audio, and he even reportedly sold a voice memo to podcast for 4 figures with Cam, shouting on the phone urged Chrissy Lampkin to keep sobbing tears move merchandise guy, we earn more when they believe she unhappy. When that voice message reached the timeline, collective jaws dropped from Harlem to Brooklyn, including Mona Scott Young, the famous ringmaster of TV Ratchet. Circus reunions had to release a dry PR statement. Miss Lampkin is not contracted with any of our performances at this time. We have no comment on this. Allegations translation. Girl, you can't even twist this disaster back onto our reunion sofa while the Puppet Master's receipts bounced from blog to blog. Camron lost to mid-tier booze sponsorships overnight, and his name was surreptitiously removed off a supposed Dipset. One promoter of the anniversary tour shared a text exchange in which Camron allegedly asked for a $50,000 advance, claiming that the anger over the baby scheme would soon subside. Unfortunately, it didn't. And the most vicious leak yet was a private group chat screen capture that Reggie himself released to a YouTube blogger, displaying Camron, Chrissy Lampkin, and a PR fixer were discussing which gossip blogs they'd pay off to remove any unfavorable headlines if the false baby story became too hot. Included a petty note to make sure Jim Jones doesn't find out till the bad clears. Guess what? Not only did Jim Jones find out, but the entire freaking world did as well. Dipset's formerly impenetrable brotherhood looked like Harlem's rubbish dump, with shredded contracts, destroyed friendships, brand sponsorships, and federal snitches screaming it wasn't just IG memes anymore. A reported federal tax inquiry now had both Camron and Chrissy Lampkin sweating bullets about whether hush monies were correctly reported. And where was Jim Jones in all of this? Still grieving, still heartbroken. Harlem's last faithful king hit the studio. Rumor goes a fresh disc, the album Faked and Betrayed, is set to arrive any day now. And a few sneaky excerpts have leaked on Twitter. Raw savage bars with no features, just Jim dragging Camron, Chrissy Lampkin, and every false baby prop from Midtown to Miami. If you think this clown act stops with PR apologies and legal bills, think again. Puppet Master, Whisper Network, believes an even nastier twist is hidden in a lawyer's safe, with a final hush agreement signed by both Camron and Chrissy Lampkin. Exactly how much bogus baby money was split behind Jim's back and how it was laundered through phony charity donations if that document reaches the blogs. Oh baby, Not only will it burn Dipset's last legacy to ashes, but it could bring a few big-name sponsors down with it. Homeland Security is already sniffing about. And the streets are salivating for the last receipts. Part 3. Yeah, it's coming. And it's the dagger Harlem has been needing, because when Quiet File drops, even the rats in the gutter will feel terrible. For Jim Jones, stay tuned, you don't want to blink now. Part 3 is where we burn every, if you've made it thus far, without holding your imagined pearls. Brace yourself for the next chapter of this fictitious baby. Catastrophe doesn't simply strike a final nail in Dipset's dusty coffin. It pulls the entire Harlem rumor ecosystem through a tempest so Savage Block's oldest OGs are dodging cameras. Remember that hush file? Yeah, the so-called smoking gun Reggie hinted about. The streets talked for weeks that only 2 individuals had a copy, Reggie and a shady industry lawyer who formerly oversaw side transactions for Camron when his financial difficulties made news a decade ago. But Harlem forgot one thing. Secrets cannot remain imprisoned when everyone's allegiance is on layaway a week after Jim's sad live rage and 2 days after Reggie's group chat leaked. The hush file reached the net, with no huge tabloid drop or podcast exclusive, just a single anonymous Google Drive link blasted in the comments sections of every article that so much as referenced Chrissy and Cam'ron or phony kids within an hour. The link was trending globally. Inside that folder was a goldmine: contracts, signed NDAs, wire instructions, and a grainy PDF stamped final split agreement in huge red letters. It explained out how the so-called baby narrative revenues would be divided between Chrissy and Cam'ron, a dodgy OBGYN, and the gossip PR fixer who sold the tale to marketers and placed in the same file. A side note virtually blazed through the screen: Jim Jones not to be notified until the last possible second, once all sponsor payments passed. Harlem lost its TikTok. Investigators screen captured every page and posted breakdowns in real time, splicing vicious memes with old recordings of Jim Jones kissing Chrissy's stomach on stage. Now labeled with sobbing emojis and clown faces, the whole globe laughed, gasped, and shared it. Messiest group conversations till it spread like a digital wildfire no lawyer could stop. And if the hush file itself wasn't embarrassing enough, Harlem's favorite mother-in-law Mama Jones chose to pull the final shred of family laundry into the daylight, and a hungry blogger caught her mid-rant outside her favorite hair shop. No filter, no apologies. She screamed out the words Harlem has been waiting for. She always knew Chrissy was poison. She claimed she asked Jim Jones to open his eyes years ago. Chrissy's folks moved quicker than any PR statement, and now he has heartache, embarrassment, and a lawyer bill so thick that even Camron can't fake it away. Might whip up baby vitamin bargains. Dead branded pregnancy shoots stopped with Savage refund demands from a designer store she put on her tails, threatening a lawsuit for brand harm caused by involvement with a bogus tail. It was all falling down dollar by dollar. Camron did what only Camron knows how to do. He didn't cower behind some legal statement. He didn't publish a sobbing apologetic video. He jumped on live hoodie halfway off, chain dancing on his chest, laughing at 50,000 people watching him name himself Harlem's favorite villain. He sipped from a crimson cup and chuckled, saying loyalty is dead, and he is the only one who is honest enough to acknowledge he murdered it himself. The comments section overflowed with clowns emojis, snake emojis, and still, half the crowd shouted because Harlem loves a villain who says what everyone else is too false to mumble. Jim Jones did not answer. Instead of doing another sloppy show, he did what he's always done best. He hit the booth. 3 days later, an unpolished freestyle appeared on SoundCloud beneath Jim's voice cracked as he spit forth line after line about betrayal, phony tears, and by midnight, supporters crowded every Harlem neighborhood, blaring the music from vehicle speakers like a funeral for everything Dipset ever represented. But the internet didn't halt for long, because following sadness and clown jokes, the real dogs the feds word leaked that Homeland Security flagged questionable money linked to that false charity foundation Camron and Chrissy Lampkin promoted throughout the bump plot. Turns out their so-called Momir's Foundation did not help needy moms at all, but channeled brand money directly back to them behind shell business invoices. That's not influencer drama anymore. That's where the fraud bearer shop began, joking that the next Dipset reunion special wouldn't be on VH1, but in a federal courtroom. The humor masked up the grief, because deep down Harlem understands this was greater than false belly bands and scammy Instagram posts. This was about a family who once stood as the final chunk, displaying raw loyalty on stage. The receipts indicated they'd sell each other, out for a messy payoff and a trending hashtag. Just when everyone believed the leaks had the information continued flowing. And one name showed up like a ghost from an old mixtape credits. Lil Moo, an elderly Dipset errand kid, the same Lil Moo who carried Cam's duffel bags back when flip phones were hot. He returned in a janky YouTube video claiming he possessed backup discs with unpublished voice notes of Camron, laughing with Chrissy and Cam'ron about baby check paydays, as Jim Jones waited in the next room believing he'd finally locked his forever queen down for good. Files and cryptic tweets implying he'd sell them to the highest bidder or, worse, turn them to Homeland Security as additional proof if the money ran out. A menace, it was Harlem's ultimate dismal joke. Even the rats have receipts in the city. Amid all this commotion, Mona Scott Young was nowhere to be found. Ghost, no announcements, no dodgy reunions, just a rumor that she's locked up overseas, on vacation, paying her crisis PR staff quadruple charges to spin every aside from her name. Even the queen of marketed reality drama couldn't turn this garbage into a nice episode narrative. And what about the fans? Remained with Jim Jones out of sympathy watching his freestyle as if every bar could sew his shattered dignity back together. Some doubled down on Camron by dubbing him the realest snake Harlem ever spawned, ferocious yet honest, the ultimate dagger that proved how phony loyalty always was in the end. The rest simply stepped back, dropping the Dipset logo from their profile photos, shaking their heads at every new report, mumbling that genuine brotherhood perished with the first hush money attorneys, see sans letters pinged inboxes like vultures, and federal agents whispered to curious bloggers that grand juries were being prepared just in case any additional fraudulent charity checks appeared. Reggie, the puppet master who happily fed all these leaks, slipped back into the shadows, most likely counting the quiet. Jim's last post before disappearing from social media conveyed everything Harlem needed to hear. A black square with no caption, just 3 words scribbled in small white letter. Loyalty ain't genuine responses, rushed in by the hundreds. Some comforting him, some mocking him for disregarding the red flags. But the reality fell the same. The dream was dead. It wasn't unity. It was simply paperwork and performance. Some think Camron still has more secrets stowed somewhere, that he could unleash an unnamed mixtape telling his side. Some predict Chrissy's lawyer will wring a payment from all the businesses presently playing dumb regarding ever worked with her, and some think the final scandal may bury them all after Lil Moo flips that hard drive for his own 15 minutes. One thing is clear, Harlem will never forget the baby bulge that never was, the deceit that converted street monarchs into cautionary tales, or the dirty treachery that dragged even this was never about a baby. It was about money, ego, and a lesson written in block letters on Harlem's sidewalks. Trust no one. When the cameras stop rolling, spill one out for the fairy tale that crashed and burnt, since that was the final voicemail reveals this cemetery of secrets will vomit up one final body. Harlem will be ready to watch from there. You have it, family. Every dirty receipt, every serpent moves, and every false tear these so-called Harlem royals believed they could sweep beneath your feet, as we wouldn't notice Camron and Chrissy and Cam'ron. They did not merely hustle a baby, they hustled an entire legacy, turned loyalty into shush payments, and spit on every fan who ever yelled Dipset for life at the top in their lungs. But guess what? Harlem never forgets, and you were present while the final mask dropped. And now I want to know whose side you are, really, on. Can the villain Harlem deserved, or Judas Harlem should have been buried for years? When did Chrissy and Cam'ron mastermind the entire thing? Circus, or was she simply Cam's puppet? With stronger lashes and a screenplay, Jim Jones was he blind, or simply too devoted for the street? Drop your uncooked hypothesis. It eats itself. In the comments right now. Dispute, roast, defend. I'm reading everything, and trust you have a second section ready. Lil Moo leaves that last voicemail. Bombshell, so attack that as you think. Cam's next move will be even. Subscribe to Dirty or Smash so you don't miss Jim's court appearance. Use a microphone instead of a lawyer to share this is with one relative who still says dipping in forever. Remember them. Loyalty is worth more than a pink fur coat. Stay spiteful with a phony baby bump. Locked in. And remember, Harlem know the secret stays buried, but the snake does not. Silence, and I will always be right here. Drag each receipt into dawn for you. See you in the next expose, and maintain your burner phones. Charged.